Hello and welcome to the War on Error. Sorry for keeping you waiting there. I just had a couple of things to do, get things ready. Hello to everyone watching. Hello to Graham Haller and to Jacob and to the Lefty Boto saying Marcus time. Oh shit, is Marcus on at this time? Oh god. Might have to rethink when I come on. But 9 o'clock on Thursdays is good for me, so I don't know. I'll check out what time Marcus is on and I'll try and avoid him in future. Obviously, he bagsied the 9 o'clock Thursday evening slot before me. I used to be 10 o'clock, so you know. Anyway, right. So this week, lots to talk about. Obviously, I talked about a little bit of this stuff yesterday after PMQs, but we've got the election in America, which is still rumbling on. They're still counting votes very, very, very slowly. It's kind of a bit weird, like the country that you think of as one of the most automated, one of the most technologically advanced countries in the world. It takes them so long to vote, like people actually have to queue up in lines to vote. British people watching this, have you ever had to queue up? Have you ever had to keep, seriously? Have you ever had to queue up to vote? But I haven't. I just literally walk in and vote and walk out again. Not a problem. But in America, apparently, you've got to queue up for 3 hours or something in order to cast your ballot. And it takes them 3 days to count the fucking ballots. Jesus Christ. Efficiency. Yeah. Anyway, but that's still rumbling on. At the moment, I'll give you a little update. All of the Senate races have come in apart from 2, I think, which is just Arizona and Nevada. In Arizona, it's looking like the incumbent, whose surname is Kelly, I've forgotten what her first name is in the lead with about 100,000 votes, with 76% of the votes in, so that's good. What is less good is in Nevada, where the incumbent Democrat looks like they're being beaten at the moment by the Republican, who's only 15,000 votes ahead, but they've had 84% of the votes in. The good thing about Nevada, I hear, is that apparently a lot of the postal votes that they're still voting generally favour the the Democrats more than the Republicans. Whether it's enough to shrink that gap down there at the end, I don't know. But the other race that wasn't finalised was the race for Georgia, in which the Democrat won. But unfortunately, because of the stupid rules they have there, these racist rules that they put in place that said that you have to have 50% of the vote in order to win, they're having a runoff. And it's funny because that law was put in to stop black people from being elected as senators for the state of Georgia, because they didn't think that black people would make more than 50% of the population, and therefore if it came to a runoff, all the white people would vote for the white candidate. But the thing is, this time the Democrat candidate and the Republican candidate are both black. So, fuck you, racists. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Duke Vengeance is there. Shut up and build a giant tree, says Duke Vengeance. Okay, all right. Jesus. Calm down. By the way, hello, sir. And Lefty Bo's talking about my timekeeping. Oh, sorry. Well, yeah, I think I got it running at about 2 minutes past, but then I had a couple of things to sort out, including like doing me little pictures in the corner here. I've got to do that. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's got to look like a proper studio that I'm in. This burning background. Chatty Rat is there. Takes 2 or 3 days to count the vote in Ireland as STV is used, single transferable vote, though no queuing to vote. Well, that's fair enough. Anyway, so yeah, that's what's happening in America at the moment. Sorry, that's in the Senate. In the House of Representatives, which is 435 people, I think, the number of votes, the number of candidates who have been returned, and that this is the whole of the House of Representatives is being re-elected essentially, whereas the Senate, it's only some of the seats of the Senate, or a third of the seats of the Senate, are being re-elected. But in the House, I think it's all of them this time. And we're currently on 209 Republicans versus 192 Democrats. So, you know, the Republicans are 17 ahead at the moment, and the magic number is 218. So the Republicans on 209. They need another 9 members, House members, to be elected, and they will cross the threshold, I think. Oh no, you got to cross the threshold, haven't you? So yeah, maybe maybe they need 219. So maybe they need 10. I don't know, but they've managed to take 16 seats that were Democrat. They've taken them over to the Republicans. Meanwhile, the Democrats have taken 4 seats from the Republicans, which is, you know, one of the things about this election is just how shit the Republicans have done. The Democrats are expecting to be wiped out. I mean, this is what normally happens in a midterm election, and then the last 2 years of any given presidency, the first term or second term, is spent essentially going on daft foreign military adventures because they can't do anything at home because they aren't going to put anything through the House because they don't run the House. They're not going to put anything through the Senate because they don't run the Senate. And if something does come through the House or the Senate, the president invariably vetoes the bill because that's not something that their party want to do. So you have pocket veto, and also you can let things just run out of time. And essentially the veto over anything that Congress wants to do is one of the disgusting powers of a president. I just hate the fact that there is one person in the world who has this much power. The power to say no to all the other elected representatives of the Parliament or the Congress of America. You know, it seems, imagine if, right, King Charles III had a habit of vetoing things that were coming through Parliament. So they spend months and months and months, years sometimes, trying to get these bills through, and they finally get through, finally get voted on. They go up to the Senate, down to the House of Representatives, back up to the Senate, so all signed off, and then it gets up to the president, the monarch, the head of state. And they go, I'm not doing that. They just throw it away. What a mad system. I know the British system isn't much better, but seriously, what a mad system. Duke Vengeance says, I think the Republicans seriously underestimated how unpopular Trump is. Yeah. Proper little echo chamber going on there in America with the very fanatical people. And also, the Republicans underestimated how unpopular a ban on abortion was going to be. 80% of Americans think that abortion should be legal. It is one of the issues, one of those touchstone issues that so many Americans agree on, whether they are Republican or Democrat. They agree on this issue that women should be able to do what the fuck they like with their own bodies without the state telling them what to do. I mean, this is a country that prides itself as the land of the free. You don't even have autonomy over your own internal organs in several states in America. That's fucking mad. That is just off the chart. And so there's a bit of a worry in Georgia now because it's going to this runoff that the third placed candidate who got 18,000 votes or something pathetic, they are a libertarian candidate, and therefore the worry is that those votes will go over naturally to the Republicans. But they might not, because a lot of libertarians want abortion to be a right. They want smoking and doing cannabis and taking drugs and all that kind of stuff, because that fits in with their ethos. I don't like libertarians, but I do agree on a few things with them. Generally, I don't like libertarians because I find that they're kind of like upper class anarchists or rich anarchists, I should say, in America. America's not quite got the same class system that we have in the UK. It's got a little bit there. Anyway, so that was one of the things I want to talk about tonight briefly before I move on to COP. The other thing, obviously, we've got to mention Matt Hancock, the absolute fucking cock, who is currently in the jungle. He's in I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, in the Australian jungle, being forced to eat, I don't know, kangaroo arse or something. The thing is, right, I don't have, I'm going to sound tremendously middle class here. I don't have a television. Yes, I do. I have a fucking television. I watch television a lot. I watch a lot of movies. I go out a lot. go to a lot of gigs. I go to a lot of films at the cinema. I go to a lot of countries. I just do those things. All right, I'm not one of these people who wants to look back at my life and go, fuck, I didn't watch Game of Thrones. I mean, looking back at how badly it turned out, I wish I'd stopped watching it at a certain point. But I don't think, oh, thank fuck I never climbed that mountain. Thank fuck I never went to that place that I could have gone to. Thank fuck I never saw that band live. Thank fuck. Do you know what I mean? It seems to me a bit of a weird thing to brag about. Like, tell me the things you've done. Tell me the things that you enjoy doing. I don't need to know the things that you don't enjoy doing, or like, you know, the things that you haven't done. That's not a very interesting conversation to me. It's like that bit in The Sopranos, which you should watch because it's really good, where they sit down and I think Tony's getting a bit pissed off with one of his right-hand men, and he basically says, remember, because he's going, oh, remember when we did this? Remember when we did that? And he goes, remember when is the lowest form of conversation. And I was like, yeah, it is. And it's very easy to go into that, especially when you meet friends you haven't seen for a while. Remember that thing that we did? But yeah, it does get a bit tedious. And the other conversation that gets a bit tedious is, oh, there's things I haven't done. Anyway, so I do have a television, but even though I live on top of a hill, we get really bad television reception. And so I don't really see live TV. And so I don't really have any way of watching I'm Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here live. I suppose I could watch it on catch up on ITV Hub or whatever it's called, but I don't really want to do that. But I'm just kind of keeping abreast of what's happening there. I am hoping that either all the other contestants walk out, or that this Matt Hancock creep is putting a big pot and boiled alive and basically eating. You know, cannibalism. I'm up for that. Bit of cannibalism. Bit of Matt Hancock down your blouse. But apparently Boy George yesterday got very upset about the fact that Matt Hancock is there, and he's been like, I'm Matt Hancock, oh, isn't it great? Do you know what he likes? Matt Hancock is privately educated, of course, and his favourite artist is Ed Sheeran, who is privately educated, of course. So some other things that happened in the privately educated circles today. You had, so obviously Mancock is annoying everyone, he's privately educated, and you also had this Steve Baker, you know, ERG, Brexit hard man Steve Baker, and Daniel Hannan whinging about Brexit. Oh no, they weren't whinging about Brexit. They did a meeting, didn't they, where they met up with all these young conservatives, you know, all these fucking whack jobs, young conservatives, and they're very attractive people. And they were fucking nutters. They were racist twats, and basically both Steve Baker and Daniel Hannan were shocked at the Brexit generation that they had helped to form. And it was just like, oh, fuck you, man. Like, seriously, what did you think was going to happen if you were, all your rhetoric is like, oh my God, there's foreigners coming, we're being invaded. What the fuck did you think was going to happen? Anyway, so they were kicking off. So they're both privately educated. Oh, fuck these guys. And today I added another one to my private school mafia.com list, which is the guy who is the chairman of Next, which is a clothing store in the UK. And he was a massive Brexiteer. He's also a Conservative peer and a Brexiteer and an absolute twat. Anyway, he's privately educated. Just so you know, I had to add him to the list today. I add people to the list nearly every day. We're nearly up to 450 people on the private school mafia.com list. Oh, and David Williams. Sorry, I forgot about David Williams. So there's another privately educated twat who turned out to be a twat. Did you know he was a twat? Yes, he's definitely a twat. Making comments that were recorded during a recording of Britain's Got Talent, in which he said some really fucking horrible derogatory things. He called the contestant a cunt. He said that some other contestant, a female contestant, was like one of those women that thinks you want to fuck them, but you don't actually want to fuck them. And then he went on about it a lot. And this was all recorded. And it turns out David Williams is a bit of a twat. Would you have seen that coming? David Williams. And look, I know Matt Lucas is kind of like this friendly guy on television, but he's privately educated as well. And I've got to say, I fucking hate Little Britain. I think it's a shit rip-off of the League of Gentlemen for a start. The slimming class that's led by Matt Lucas, and it's so similar to the Job Seekers Club led in League of Gentlemen, and a lot of the characters, a lot of the grotesques, punching down. They were taking the piss out of people who were, you know, below them in class, because these are two privately educated public school boys, you know, and they're kind of taking the piss out of disabled people, and people are like, haha, isn't that funny? He's just pretending to be disabled. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, really? And I don't know if you know anyone who's disabled or has a disability, but that attitude of, oh, you're just faking, it's not really that bad, you're just doing it to get attention. Like, how dare you? How dare they put that out there as if, that's something that we can laugh at and that's all good. I don't mind it they're punching up. I don't mind that they're taking the piss out the government or the money men or the powers that be or whoever. Or the church, for God's sake. Literally. But, like, to take the piss out of working class people, to take the piss out of disabled people and go, oh, they're not really disabled, they're just pretending. No, fuck off. Fuck off, David Walliams. So I've never been a big fan of David Walliams. I quite like Matt Lucas just because of the Shooting Stars days. But, yeah, if I never see David Walliams on the telly again, I wouldn't really give a toss, to be honest with you. But there you go. That's our roundup of privately educated fucknuts who fucked me off today. All 5 of them. So my arm disappears if I do that. That's kind of weird, isn't it? Anyway, I'm just going to put my hand in this building. That's okay. What's in this building? Oh, it's the top of my tea. Anyway, I'll bloody disable them, says Duke Vengeance. Well, there you go. I think I read that one from Duke. Duke, he can stay in the bloody jungle and all. He definitely can. Hi, everyone, says Casper Northerner. Hello. Chatty Rat says, Libertarians may not show up for the runoff with their man out of the game. Outcome would be interesting if Georgia had STV, single transferable vote. Would Libertarians transfer to Republican or cast just Plumbers one only? Yeah, well, yeah. Single transferable vote for any British people who don't know what that is, but I mean, we use it in other things, so I don't know anyone who wouldn't know what it is, but basically you do 1, 2, 3, 4 for the people that you want, and so if your first class candidate is knocked out, you get your second vote goes to the other person. There you go. Evening all, says Reagan Elise. Hello. Number 3 says hi. Hi, number 3. It's all good. It's all good. So anyway, the other thing that I want to talk about, so we've got Matt Hancock going on fucking celebrity, cunt, let me out of here. Boy George got very upset. And essentially, he got upset about the fact that Matt Hancock was in charge of health of the nation during the COVID pandemic. He locked down too late. He had all these parties with Boris Johnson, party fucking animal. And he promised that he swore that he put a ring of, was it a ring of care or something, or a ring of power? I don't know. Something around the care homes in the UK and a ring of steel, maybe, I don't know. But the reality was they took patients who had COVID, elderly patients who had tested positive for COVID. They took them out of the hospitals and they put them in the care homes, which has been described by other commentators as a bit like the days when they used to, when there was a siege at a castle and they used to get one of those big trebuchets, one of those catapults, and they used to put dead bodies that had died of plague into the catapult and fling them over the wall so that they landed in the castle grounds, and then the disease would spread from the dead bodies, the plague, used as a weapon of war. And this is what our health secretary did, Matt Hancock, who seems more interested in getting his end away during the pandemic with a woman who wasn't his wife than actually looking after the good of the nation, the people of the nation. And the stat that you need to remember is that nearly 200,000 people died in the UK of COVID. People are still dying today. 200,000 people. Out of a population of 66 million. In Japan, a population of 129 million. So almost twice that of the UK. Almost twice that of the UK. They had a death toll of just around 30,000. Because they looked after their citizens. They weren't, shagging the secretary when they should have been helping people survive the most deadly pandemic we'd had in 100 years. And now this guy's in the fucking jungle pretending it's all cool and he's dead funny and everyone likes him and he's a big Ed Sheeran fan and he actually sung a bit of an Ed Sheeran song, which makes me hate him even more. Fucking Ed Sheeran. Anyway. Yeah, another ring of protection. Yeah, maybe. Reagan Elite, always missing your live stream. No, you're not. You're here now, and that's the main thing. Thanks very much for coming along. Chatty Rat, STV is a British invention imposed on Ireland and Malta before they gained independence. Multi-seat STV still used in Malta and Ireland. It makes sense. I mean, as part of a whole raft of reforms for the British political system, STV has got to be one of the things that we do. I mean, it has to be. But also the idea of having proportional representation in such a way that allows for people to still have a constituency MP. That is something that it's something that we can do. Have a look at New Zealand and how they managed to pull it off. And the fact that we have successive governments with 43% of the votes, and they're in government and no one can tell them no. I mean, imagine getting 43% on a test and you get like a double first. You get like an A star, and you're like, how the fuck did that happen? You get an 80-seat majority from 43% in a test. You're like, oh, that's not right. Hey, how did I get that? How did that thing go? You get a gold star and a fucking jelly baby from 43%. Could you imagine? No. Just no. And yeah, it does mean that they have to do deals with other parties in order to stay in power or get power. Good. Make deals, negotiate. Politics is the art of compromise. Find some common ground. Stop taking politics to the fucking extremes. Fine, I don't give a fuck. I just don't want the Tories in power anymore. I can't take it. It's like every day, stress. At least now, with the fact that the Republicans have done fuck all in this election. I mean, they've done really fucking badly. I know they might still take the House and they might still take the Senate, but God, they've done badly. They've done shite. And they were predicting a big red wave, and it just hasn't happened. It just fucking hasn't happened. And although people aren't particularly gung-ho for Biden, and people aren't particularly gung-ho in this country for Keir Starmer, it doesn't fucking matter. We just don't want those fuckers. There's no inspiration for them at the moment because they know that they fucked everything. They know that the shit all over the fucking carpet, and they're the people who walked it into the house. Do you know what I mean? I'm actually fucking shat all over the carpet in a lot of cases with Conservative voters. But yeah, LTTE2 says, I'll never forgive Hancock, Johnson, and the rest of the Tory for the herd immunity, and they'll take it on the chin when they had a chance to nip the virus in the bud. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the conversation that I have when people go, oh, I quite liked Boris. I go, oh, yeah, I liked him too. I liked the bit where he was fucking that, that American tart, the one he spaffed his muck up, to use his parlance, on the couch while his wife was getting chemotherapy. I thought that was great. I especially liked it when he after the Skripal poisonings, when he went to a Bunga Bunga party on Russia Mountain in Italy with a KGB agent. He went to a fuck party with a KGB agent with British documents and without his security detail when he was Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs. Foreign Secretary. And he's going off to... He went straight from a NATO meeting. A NATO meeting with 29 of our closest comrades who, basically say, if you get invaded, an attack on one of us, an attack on all of us. If you get invaded, we'll step in and help you out. That's what NATO is. And he went to a party full of Russians, one of whom was a KGB agent, or FSB, or whatever the fuck it's called now, the Flying Spaghetti Monster. That's mad, isn't it? That was my favourite bit. No, the bit where he prorogued Parliament illegally and lied to the fucking Queen. Oh, that was my favourite bit. No, the bit where he defended Dominic Cummings, who said that he needed an eye test. He has to drive 45 minutes to Barnard Castle along a fucking scary A road to test his eyesight. A fucking scary A road. You've got to drive along that road sometime from Durham, down the road to Barnard Castle. It's an A road, it's 60 miles an hour. Stretches of it are 70 miles an hour because it's dual carriageway. And it's pretty fucking dangerous, especially when you can't see. But yeah, he defended that. And then he said, let the bodies pile high. He said, heard you mean? That was my favourite bit. Let the bodies pile high. What a compassionate bloke. And then it turns out he's having all these parties every other week. He's having a big party. The Queen loses her husband and she's there sitting on her own at the funeral because she wants to keep the protocol, even though they say, listen, we can make an exception because she's the Queen. She says, no, fuck that. My subjects are having to put up with this shit. I'll have to do it as well. And she had to say goodbye to her husband on her own. Then the night before, at Boris Johnson's house, they were having a big fucking piss up where they were firing wine up the wall and they were fucking each other in the fucking garden of number 10 and they broke a swing. That's my favourite bit. What was your favourite bit? Tell me your favourite bit. But no, I'll tell you what my favourite bit of Boris Johnson is. When he gave the address of one of his colleagues at the newspaper he worked for to Darius Guppy, who is a criminal, privately educated criminal, who wanted to beat the shit out of this guy for publishing something about him. And he gave him the address. That was my favourite bit. What a cunt. What a cast iron cunt. What a dead cert, number one cast iron cunt. And yet people go, oh, God, remember Boris though? He was great, wasn't he? No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. Tell me which bit you liked the best. Tell me. Oh, Brexit. He fucking told everyone that everything was going to be great after Brexit. Sunlit uplands. Sunlit uplands. And now you've got fucking daft clanging manholes like that twat from fucking Next. Yeah, you can't get the workers anymore just because I voted and told people to vote to make Britain the most unattractive country in Europe to go and work in. You fucking knob. The fuck were you thinking? Jesus Christ. I don't know where all the workers have gone. Oh, yeah, another privately educated wank shaft, Tim Martin, Brexiteer, of course. What the fuck are they teaching in these schools? It's not fucking decency, is it? Jesus Christ. Anyway, fucking Tim Martin, he's whinging. Oh, I'm having to shut down a tenth of the Weatherspoons in the UK are having to shut down. 1/10. Mate, come on. At least Brexit's good for something. Anyway, moving to your messages. ITV knew what they were doing, and they knew paying him a shit ton of money would put him there. It'd be great news, even if it's bad news for people who watch the product. Yeah. Well, I'm hoping Boy George just kills him. Why not? It'd be fun. I'll pay to watch Boy George just do him in. One of those like death matches, not like a Thunderdome type thing. Thunderdome affair, 2 men enter, 1 man leave. Imagine that. I mean, that would be pretty fucking cool. Like Boy George beating Matt Hancock to death with his own legs. That'd be fucking great. I'll pay for that. Japanese wear face masks when they get a sniffle. Not doing so is considered bad form. Yep, chatty rat. You're absolutely right. They're a much more polite society than we are, except when they're raping and pillaging in the Second World War, obviously. But they've improved a lot since then. Wow. Number 3 says, I've moved. Can I just say as well about the rape of Nanking? Like, seriously, fucking hell, Japan. Fucking hell. I think I covered this on the China. Did I get up to China on Hughes of the World? The rape of Nanking is off the fucking chart. And one of the things I didn't know about it, I only found out this out fairly recently. It was actually a Nazi, the German fucking ambassador or whatever, who was over there from the Nazi party, who said, this is a bit much. Seriously. There's a guy who, in Nanking, he in China, which was invaded by the Japanese, and the Japanese just, the amount of human rights atrocities they committed is just off the fucking charts. And it took a Nazi to say, stop this. You're taking this a bit too far. And he actually allowed people to go into the diplomatic area to escape from the Japanese who were just going bananas at the time. Fucking scary. Another thing that I wanted to talk to before I get to COP 27 was the withdrawal from Curzon. So I'm going to come back to that in a moment, but I'm just going to go through your messages here. Number 3 says, I've moved to Bristol now and I've just met some people. Life is improving for once. I'm great. That's great to hear, Richard. Good to hear that, man. LTTE2 says, I'll never forgive Hancock. I've read that one. Number 3 said, this is all Murdoch's fault. Yeah, indeed. Duke says, I'll never forgive them either. Asperger's Europe says, the European Parliament today approved Croatia's accession to the Schengen area. They should join on the 1st of the 1st, 23. The domino effect of countries following the UK out the EU doesn't seem to be happening. Indeed it doesn't. Although that's going to make the border at Neum even fucking worse. So there's a little border from Bosnia and Herzegovina to the sea. And it basically splits Croatia in two. So it's Croatia takes all the coast, and then this little bit, this Dubrovnik area. And to get across that, you used to be able to just trundle across. It was no problem. But now you're leaving the EU. And then when you get to the Dubrovnik area, you're re-entering the EU. And on a bus, it takes fucking ages. 1/10 of Wetherspoon's closing is not enough. Oh, come on. We're getting there. We're getting there. It's better than non%, eh? But yeah, it's not enough. I do agree. Croatia will be the only country in Schengen with blue passports. Oh, well, there you go. It will also join the Eurozone on New Year's Day. Romania and Bulgaria might also be given approval to join Schengen soon. Bulgaria will probably be the next to adopt the Euro after Croatia. Or HR, as we like to call it. Asperger's Europe says Iceland and Liechtenstein have blue passports and are in the Schengen area. Well, there you go. Now you know. I'm going to do a whole video on how shit the blue passport is that they've made us have, because it's fucking awful. The frame rate looks really bad on this. I don't know if it's just me. Anyway, the opening of the Plejac Bridge in July has allowed traffic to and from Dubrovnik and the rest of Croatia to bypass Neum. Oh shit, really? I knew they were thinking of building a bridge. I didn't know they actually fucking done it. That's me being out of fucking touch. Anyway, right, so Russia has pulled out of Kherson. Kherson's a city in the south of Ukraine, which is near the Crimean Peninsula, which was annexed by the fucking Russians in 2014. Get your dates right, Graham. And it was one of the first cities to be taken by the Russians, and it's in February. Or March, was it? I don't know. But one of the refugees that we helped to get to, well, a couple of refugees that we helped to get from the border with Ukraine to where they needed to go in Germany, were from Kherson, and they showed me and Burr footage that they had filmed on their phones in Kherson, and it was fucking horrific. It was absolutely fucking horrific. So it's great that the Russians are fucking off, as they should. The bastards. They should have done that. They shouldn't have even fucking invaded. But now you're going to see a lot of atrocities are going to come to light. A lot of mobile phone footage. There's going to be a lot of shallow graves that they're going to find in Kherson. A lot of brutality. And it's going to be fucking horrible. And yes, you will still have people on the far left and the far right defending Putin and saying things like, oh, he's just defending his own. I had an American say that to me. Oh, he's just defending the Russian people who live in Ukraine. I'm like, fuck off. You saying that if Mexico invaded Texas to protect the Mexicans, you'll be like, oh, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, fucking invade Texas. We deserve it. We're all Nazis in Texas. Fucking idiot. So, yeah, that was a bit, what? What the fuck? Really? But people do think this. People think that Putin's the good guy in all this. The guy who literally invaded someone else's country, declared them all Nazis, even though the Prime Minister and the President of Ukraine are Jewish. It's quite some leap. And that justified it. That justified it. So, basically, if France elect Marine Le Pen, everyone, we're okay to invade. Apparently, we can just fucking take Brittany and Normandy. Why the fuck not, eh? Anyway, so, yeah, great news that Kherson is being evacuated by the Russians as we speak. Bad news that, you know, a lot of horrible things have happened over the last 6 months. Absolutely horrific things have happened in Kherson. And, God, I just shudder to think what's going to happen next. The way the Russians are behaving is a fucking disgrace, and the fact that they got the World Cup a couple of years ago is also a disgrace, and the fact they got the Winter Olympics a few years ago is a fucking disgrace. It's because of all the corruption in the IOC and in FIFA is just off the fucking chart, and the fact that Qatar got the World Cup in a couple of weeks is fucking crazy. Wow. Money speaks. Anyway, Chatty Rat says, I was not aware of that. Also forgot the Gibraltars with their new blue British overseas territory passports. Indeed. Gibraltar. Number 3 says, COP27 isn't getting much attention in my view. I don't hold out much hope for it anyway. No, it's not getting a lot of attention. But what is getting a lot of attention is the Just Stop Oil protesters, who I think are fucking brilliant. And I will fight anyone who thinks differently. Because I'm sick of him. Like, oh, but they didn't let me get to the... Okay, right. You know they're on a motorway. You know at the side of the motorway, if it's an emergency, there's a thing called the hard shoulder. In fact, if you think about it, it's better that they, instead of having a protest that shuts off a road in the middle of the city centre, right? It's better that they shut down a motorway, because then if if an ambulance needs to get to somewhere with a fire engine or the police, they can use the hard shoulder. You see, just use the hard shoulder. Just there's a hard shoulder there, so that's the one to do. Also, it gets up loads of people's noses. Fucking great. Do you know why? Because then people fucking talk about it. There's these interviews with people from the Just Stop Oil movement, and they're going, oh, people hate what you're doing. Why are you doing it? And they're like, to draw attention to it. Yeah, but this is the wrong way to do it. I'm like, well, you are fucking interviewing me now, right, dickhead? You're literally interviewing me, and if we hadn't done this, you wouldn't be interviewing me. The Secretary General of the UN said we are on the highway to hell earlier this week. The highway to fucking hell. We are doomed as a species if we continue the way we are going. And that got no publicity at all. That got no mention, hardly, in the I mean, obviously, it was covered by the news. But people weren't talking about it down the pub. People weren't talking about it on talk radio. They went, oh, hello, I need to say something about this thing that he said. No. But Just Stop Oil, everyone's talking about them. Fucking great. Good. That's a good thing, because we need to. And when they say, do you love your children? Or, yeah. Well, do you love oil more than your own fucking children? That's the question you need to ask people. If the answer's no, then stop giving out new fucking passes to dig fossil fuels out of the ground when we're already beyond any kind of saving of about a third of the world's population at this point. Even if we stopped using fossil fuels today. That's the reality. 1.5 degrees, that's going to be the end of the decade. It might even be before then. We're looking at 2.8 degrees of heating around the world. And a third of fucking Pakistan was underwater a couple of weeks ago. There was the biggest fucking lake in the world that used to be Pakistan. It was just fucking insane. You got these famines in Africa, in Somalia, massive fucking famine. It's been going on now for 5 fucking years. Because the environment, the environment is the way to go, is it? The climate is changing, and that means the weather changes. We get more extreme weather. We have 40-degree heat this summer. 40 degrees. Loads of old people fucking carked it because it was too fucking hot. Birds fell out the fucking sky. In January this year, don't know if you remember. Do you remember the storm we had in January? Right, earlier in the year. Right, it knocked down over 1 million trees. When you see these people going, oh, I'm going to plant some trees, carbon offset, gonna plant some trees. We lost 1 million of them because the wind came from the wrong direction. It wasn't just the fact that it was a strong wind. We've had strong winds today. But it was coming from an unnatural direction for the trees. Because as the trees grow, obviously they buttress against the prevailing wind. The wind comes the other fucking way. They're fucked. Go for a walk in the nearest forest to you and just have a look at how many fucking trees are falling down. I say 1 million. It's probably more than that. And then the BBC cunts are still allowing people like Julia Hartless-Brewer to be on Question Time. This is a COVID denier, an anti-maxer, and someone who doesn't believe that climate change is actually fucking happening. She doesn't believe it's real. She goes around saying it's not true. It's like, you know, if someone that you loved had cancer, and then a celebrity goes on TV and says to them, it's all right, there's no such thing as cancer, you'll be fine. And they go, oh, did you hear that, love? They say there's no such thing as cancer, so I'm going to cancel my chemotherapy that could keep me alive, and I'll just die instead. I'll just literally fucking die because some clanging manor on the fucking telly doesn't believe cancer exists. And that's what she's like. That's exactly what she's like. And the BBC are giving her a fucking platform. So yeah, Just Stop Oil. Bring it on. Bring it fucking on, guys. I love what you're doing. Keep doing it. Canal is there. Thanks for articulating the rage. Thank you very much, Canal. He's my sound guy from Singapore. Lives in Singapore anyway. Yeah, thank you very much, Canal. Really, really appreciate that super chat coming in there. The LBC reporter getting arrested over the M25 protest was shocking. Braverman should be clamped in irons. Yeah. Yeah. And apparently the police officers who were arrested had never seen a press card before. It literally says on the press card, call this number to check it's genuine. And it's like, nah, no. And then the arresting officer in the police station didn't say, hey, hang on, this is a bit wrong. But Braverman said, fucking anyone to do with any of these protests, fucking arrest them. Because Braverman is a fucking disgusting fascist blobfish. Honestly, I'll be surprised if they don't blow that down. What's one more war crime at this point? Well, it is a worry. It is a worry. Gibraltar has yet to conclude a treaty with the EU. It has been dragging on for so long. I wonder the solution would be to change status from overseas territory to microstate like Monaco. Well, Asperger's Europe, I asked about this when I met up with representatives of the government of Gibraltar for Three Blokes in the Pub several years ago. I said, can you declare yourself a microstate? And they said no, because of the Treaty of Utrecht, which I think is 1648 or maybe 1713. I'm not sure. What are the two? It might be 1748. Someone look it up. When was the Treaty of Utrecht? It was an important treaty. Ended a war, I think, back in the day. And as part of the Treaty of Utrecht, Gibraltar was ceded to Great Britain from Spain, and basically in perpetuity until Britain didn't want it anymore. And if Britain decides that it wants to sever its link, or, you know, the people of Gibraltar want to be independent, they can't, because they've got to be given back to Spain. That's the rules. That was in the Treaty of Utrecht, which still is enforced for some reason. I don't know. But yeah, that does seem a bit mad, but there you go. I think if Schengen gets the head together, and they're going to be part of Schengen, but joining the EU would be a really good idea for Gibraltar to do. It's something they could do as like an associate member or something like that they could sort of get through the little bit of a grey zone with the EU and say, yeah, you can be part of it. Because you think about it, the microstates like Andorra and Vatican City and San Marino aren't technically part of the EU, but they're part of the EU. You know, you go to Vatican City, and although they have their own fucking bank, if you buy anything in the Vatican gift shop, you're paying in euros. You don't have to exchange your money for crazy Vatican money. In San Marino, they use euros. In Andorra, they use euros. They don't use some weird fucking currency that, Andorran peso francs, potato francs. So that's good. That's good. Anyway, so just back to your comments here. You saved the planet. How can I take it if there's an evil warlord if the planet is dead? Exactly, Duke Vengeance. Exactly. Ukrainians need to tread carefully when re-entering Kherson. The Russians have the ability to swamp the evacuated area. Yeah. We're talking about that dam that they could blow up. Fucking hell. If they did that, I think all cards are off the fucking table. I think that's the time when, the Americans need to press the button that destroys everything that is Russian in Ukraine. Just, that's it. Takes it all out. I'm sure they've got the technology. COP17, biggest group of and funding is from oil and gas companies, sent even more than COP16, which was a record and by far the biggest group. Yes, QA Library. Sorry, COP27. So the number of delegates from the fossil fuel lobby has gone up by 25%. And as one of the Just Stop Oil protesters pointed out, imagine if there was an anti-cancer conference. It was all doctors, and it was all medical professionals, pharmaceutical companies, and Benton and Hedges were there. Philip Morris, British American Tobacco representatives. Hey, how can we help? How can we help the cancer? No, this is anti-cancer. How can we help the cancer? Fucking unbelievable. So out of 600 out of 35,000 people who are at the talks, 600 of them are from the fossil fuel lobby, and his job it is to fuck things up. They shouldn't be allowed, or they should be invited into a room. Did I say a room? A room, and then the door should be sealed and the wasps should be released. The angry wasps. Indeed. Chatty Rat says, I thought Gibraltar was already in Schengen. It kind of is. It will never have any hope of becoming a microstate as long as it remains BOT. Plus, Spain has design on it if the UK leaves. Well, it's the Treaty of Utrecht. There you go. Treaty of 1715. There you go. That was the second date I gave. I gave Treaty of Westphalia, I think, is 1648. And then the Treaty of Utrecht is 1715. And then you've got the Treaty of Vienna, I think. What was that? 1815. And then you've got the Treaty of Versailles, which is 1919. So there you go. There's all your famous European international treaties that were very important back in the day. I still remember that from my history A levels. That's pretty impressive, I've got to say, even, about myself, considering it was 25 years ago. Kevin, oh God, I'm old. I'm dying with man flu. Send soup and up flat, 7-Up quick. Haven't felt this bad since pre-COVID, November 2018. Shit, Kev. Damn. Flat 7-Up. Do you know what I used to like when I was ill as a kid? I used to like getting lemonade and putting it in the microwave for like a minute. So it was like hot lemonade and it kind of melts in your mouth in a weird way. And it's no good if you're not ill. But if you're ill, for some reason, it's like poor man's Lemsip. It's great. The 11th of April, 1713, it says QA Library. A treaty from 1713 should probably be negotiable by now. Well, it depends if it was ratified. One of the problems with the Treaty of Versailles, it was never ratified by the US. The president of the US at the time, I think it was Woodrow Wilson, was it? Who said, yeah, this is fine. And he took it back to fucking Congress. And because nothing ever gets done in Congress in America, they couldn't agree. So it never got ratified by the Americans. True story. People are like pens, says HK. I don't really get that one, but okay. So anyway, COP 27, which is taking place at the moment in Sharm el Sheikh in Egypt. And I've called it a cop-out. The world is going on fire. The world is literally going on fire. Everywhere across the Antarctic and the Arctic, things are heating up. And you look at somewhere like Greenland, you look at somewhere like Antarctica, there is a fuckload of water frozen on those continents. Or I suppose Greenland's an island, but it's a big fucking island. And it's fresh water. It's just fresh water that could go into the ocean, and that's it. Do you know what I mean? Like, everything floods. Everything fucking floods. A lot of our food that we get in Europe it comes from the Netherlands. They have very intense farming practices in the Netherlands. But, all the dikes in the world are not going to save you from 10-meter tidal range. If the water does go up that fucking high, you're fucked. And don't forget as well, they say the water's going to rise by 10 meters. Okay, yeah. But that's average. That's your average, isn't it? That doesn't take into account tidal ranges. Sometimes it's going to be higher than that, depending on where the moon is, where the sun is, where the sun and the moon is, where the earth is to the... Do you know what I mean? Like, we have seasonal floods in many countries because you'll get a supermoon or when the moon's particularly close, and it just makes the water bulge up more and you get more flooding. I mean, imagine that, but you've already got 10 meters of extra water. And it's not like we've got plenty of land to live on the planet, because a lot of the livable land, the arable land, has been arabilized. Most of the places that people don't live in, or sparsely populated, are fucking they're almost unlivable. I don't know, yeah, okay, 1 million people live in the jungle in Brazil and 1 million people live in the Atacama Desert. Yes, I know. You can't eke out an existence there, but it's fucking difficult. And it's not going to make it any easier if you have these microsystems set up where you're not getting any rain for years on end. Or in the case of Australia, it's just won't stop fucking raining. They've had more rain this year than they've ever had before. On record. I mean, these records are just falling, tumbling one by one. I mean, hurricanes, typhoons, flooding, rain, dry patches, heat. I mean, it is just going to be one thing after the other. And the thing is, prevention is always, always cheaper than the cure. And this is what drives me mad. It's like, why would you keep going down this route? Why would you keep going down this route when you know it's going to cost you more money in the long run? The answer to that is everyone over the age of 50 who doesn't believe in climate change, doesn't care about climate change, doesn't believe or doesn't care about it because they know they're going to die before it gets too bad. And every single one of them who has children is a monster. Every single one of them is a fucking monster, is a psychopath, is a sociopath. They are not good people. I know some of your friends or friends of family might think this way, and they're not good people, I'm afraid. That's just it. They don't give a shit about the horrors that await their children and their grandchildren. Maybe it's a failure of imagination, which, to some extent is an excuse, but it's not like we haven't been told what was going to happen over the last 40 years, because we have all the time. And people still go, oh, but in the 70s, you said it was going to get colder. In the fucking 70s, the technology's come on a bit since then. In the 70s, did we have the fucking internet? Did we fuck? In the 70s, did we have smartphones? Did we fuck? In the 70s, did we have satellite TV? Did we fuck? We didn't have those things in the 70s. They didn't fucking exist. Did we have a Large Hadron Collider? No, did we fuck? The amount of stuff that we've got now that we didn't have in the 70s is off the fucking charts. And the idea that we can now animate an entire fucking movie to be photorealistic, but we can't we can't use the same computer crunching power to look at climate change models and go, yeah, this is probably what's going to happen. You put more CO2 into the atmosphere, guys. And then you're seeing it happen in real time, and you're like, oh no, I don't believe it. 40-degree days, yeah, that's all right, isn't it? I like the sun. Fucking hell. Hope you like skin cancer. Number 3. Oh, thank you very much. Number 3, £20 on the way to you, Graham. Thank you. Oh, thank you, sir. Super chat there from number 3 from Richard, which is brilliant. Squire, build more wind turbines. What do you mean that's not going to help? What do you mean this world isn't real? Duke is currently building more wind turbines in Minecraft or something. QA library, there is parts of Milani that is underwater twice a day on just a normal day now. Fucking hell. The canal says the atmospheric CO2 is already locked in for centuries. Many meters of seawater rise is assured, but it will take decades to manifest, indeed. Phil says hi all. Hi, Phil. And Jacob says hi. Pete Glass, the 70s thing was way off theory already against the grain. Yeah, but it gives people the chance to go, but the scientists were wrong in the past. Like when they go, oh, we used to think the world was flat, No, they fucking didn't. The fuck? Who fucking thought the world was flat? You think that the Spanish crown would give 3 massive fucking Spanish galleons to fucking some Italian who turned up and said, can I have 3 massive galleons? What do you need the galleons for, Columbus? Oh, I'm going to sail them off the edge of the fucking planet. What? That's my plan. I'm just going to go out there, I'm going to head west, across the sea, and I'm going to sail off the edge of the fucking world, because we don't know it's round yet. Oh, fuck off. People have known that the world is round for millennia. So it's nothing new, right? Because back in the day, I guess they used to watch ships leave, and they'll see the ship going below the horizon. I don't know. Maybe they put a stick in the ground in Egypt and went, oh, look at the shadow on that. I'll measure the length of that shadow, and then I know that it's 100,000 cubits to this other stick. So I'll put a stick in the ground there. I'll measure that shadow exactly the same time, at the same time of year. And then from the difference in the shadow length, I can extrapolate the circumference of the planet to within about 100 kilometers. Before the birth of Jesus. Fucking hell. People used to think the world was flat. No, they fucking didn't. Otherwise, what was Columbus doing? What was he doing? He was trying to get to fucking India, right? By going westwards to India instead of eastwards. Because he was going to go around the world. And then he got a bit confused because he hit this land and he went, oh, this must be part of India, I guess. But it wasn't. It wasn't. It was most definitely a whole new continent. A whole new world. I only come here for the cheery banter, says Walter. Well, so do I, obviously. The bloody Mayans knew the world was round. Yeah, bees know the world is round, for fuck's sake. Fucking bees! Fake history of science. Yeah, Pete. I mean, come on, that is one of the things that people like to do if they don't understand something is try and undermine it. Do you know what I mean? They do this with climate change. Obviously, they do it with Brexit. They do it with any kind of argument that you can make. They love their straw man. They love their straw men, and they love to say, well, what you're saying is blah, 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 but it's not something that you're saying. And these things where they go, oh, but what you fail to understand is that people have been wrong in the past. And I'm like, people have been wrong in the present. In fact, you're wrong now. I mean, that's fine. But when a scientific consensus says that the planet is fucked. And we need emergency operation right now to save the planet. We need like World War III levels of, involvement in stopping the planet from being uninhabitable to humans. Because don't forget, this big old rock is 4.3 billion years old, give or take, right? It's been around a while. It's had a few mass extinction events, one of which is actually happening right now because of us. It will survive. Life will survive. There are animals, creatures that live on the thermal vents from volcano fucking sulfur. They live off, extrema dams, they're called. They're going to be fine. They're still going to be there. But the lion, the tiger, the giraffe, the dog, the house cat, mammals in general, good chance they're all going to get wiped out by us. By us. And as each generation grows up, has children of their own, it's going to get tougher and tougher to die of old age. Because the most likely scenario that we can see as a result of climate change is there is going to be mass migration. And there's going to be fucking carnage. Because there's just aren't enough bullets in the world to defend every fucking country in the world that needs to defend itself against people who are desperate, who will die if they stay where they are, going, I don't want to die. I don't want my children to die, so I'm going to fucking move. I'm going to move to somewhere where I might die, but I won't definitely die. Because if I stay here, I will definitely die. And you think 1 million people is going to be a problem? Mate, you ain't seen nothing yet. Because the difference between 1 million refugees and 1 billion is an order of magnitude. Literally. Mathematically. And we're fucked. We're absolutely fucked. And everything nice, everything good, everything we like about this planet, gone. Fucked. Burned. Impenetrable. Can't go there. Flooded. Fucked. Everything fucked by these oil, gas, and coal motherfuckers. And the people who just fucking wank them off for money. It's just painful. It's fucking painful. And I'm raging. I'm absolutely raging that we're having another COP meeting. I thought COP 2009, right? When in Copenhagen. Do you remember that? That was going to be the big one. That was going to be the big one where they actually got shit done. GST, get shit done. Copenhagen. That was 13 years ago, guys. 13 years ago. And we haven't reduced our fucking carbon footprint one iota. In fact, we've fucking increased it. Well done, us. Humans, I mean. Philip History Glass. What? History, Philip Glass. Yes. Even if the science was debatable, why does it take the risk of doing business as usual? That's something I can never understand. Yeah. Well, it's not debatable, but yeah. Like, it's that cartoon from 2009 where it's the conference hall and there's a guy at the front and he's saying, cleaner air, energy self-sufficiency, less asthma, less respiratory diseases, less pollutants in the air, all these different things. And there's two guys at the back that says, yeah, but what if it's all a big hoax and we create a better world for no reason? 13 years ago. I have still my yellowing 1972 copies of the Limits to Growth and Blueprint for Survival. I'm with you, Graham. Yeah, thank you. 3 orders of magnitude to be pedantic about it. I love a pedant. Yoni, thank you very much. Bees also know how to apply spherical coordinate transforms. Yes. I don't know what that means, but yeah. If the world is flat, why do we have time zones to make it so hard to get to Singapore? Singapore and New York together into my conference call. It's not flat. Chatty says, hence the name, the West Indies and the native populations being called Indians. Indeed. Is the US back in the Paris Agreement? I missed that. Yes, they are. That was one of the first things that Biden did, actually. I blame capitalism, says Duke Vengeance. So do I. Can you imagine the posters Farage will be pointing at when 1 billion people are coming? yeah, he'll say, I'll be there with my rifle. I'll be there with my rifle. And I'll be like, okay, mate, yeah, whatever. So when he's there with his rifle, and then we can just knock him on the back of the head with a hammer. Oh God, yeah, QA Library. I read that. So KFC told customers in a mobile app notification to treat themselves to cheesy chicken at KFC to celebrate Kristallnacht. Yeah, you know the night of broken glass. You know the night that really started the Holocaust, where the shops owned by Jews across Germany were smashed. The windows were... Yeah. KFC did that. Well done, KFC. Unfucking-leavable. Anyway, so loads of other things to talk about. Fucking cancer care delays. Oh my God. Like, seriously, in the UK at the moment, basically every 2 weeks that you delay getting your treatment for cancer increases your likeliness of dying by 10%. Every 2 weeks. And this is what the government are doing right now. Under the Labour government, the target was to see your GP within 48 hours. Under the Tories, the target, which is kind of ambitious for the Tories, is 2 fucking weeks. And all these twats are going, oh, but it's because of COVID. Oh, it's because of the war in Russia. No, it's not, mate. It's because of Brexit, and the fuckers in charge don't know what they're doing. I don't give a fuck if they sound really posh and have a plumbing accent and a good education. They don't know shit about running a fucking country. That's why we're in the fucking mess we are, because we allow fucking clowns to be in charge. Why are you doing this to us? Because you let me. That is such a great fucking line from the movie Speak No Evil, which is a fucked up movie, and I don't recommend it, but like, honestly, when you've tortured someone to near death and they say, why are you doing this? And they say, because you let me. It's like, why are the Tories getting away with this shit? And it's because we let them. So, I say no more. But yes. Keep on raging, Graham, says Darren, and thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Really appreciate it. Doesn't sound kosher, says Pineapple, but yes, cheesy chicken. That's a good point. You can't mix milk and meat in kosher cooking, and so it's not kosher. Oh my God. So they're actually advertising a non-kosher... Oh, for fuck's sake. That's just off the charts, that, isn't it? KFC branding as KKKFC. Indeed, I think they are. Anyway, listen, I'm going to leave it at that. Clan fascist cluckers, says Yoni. Very good. I've been on for an hour, so I'm going to head off into the night. I will return on Monday at 9 o'clock, if that's okay with you guys. 9 o'clock, is that all right? And we'll be meeting up here again and getting shit done, talking about this stuff. And I am working on this big project that I've been working on for most of the year so far. Hopefully it's going to take off soon. I don't know. But when it does, I'll let you know, and there'll be a bit of rebranding going on, to say the least. And everyone who is currently my Patreon, and I love each and every one of you, will automatically get exclusive membership to this new club that I'm putting together. So stay with me. That is why ED departments can't cope. ED? What? Erectile dysfunction? What? Community healthcare is decimated. Minor healthcare issues don't get treated, then become more serious, requiring acute care. Deliberate Tory ploy. Yeah, indeed. Night, everyone. Take care, says Casper. Big project, top of the world. Yeah. Pound boy, look. In order to write top of the world, I need a bit of financial security. I need to be actually in a position where I'm like, okay, I'm getting a wage, so I can put time aside every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday to write a book in the evening. That's the kind of regular. I need that regular income in order to be able to do that, instead of just panicking every month about where my next paycheck's coming in, and having to scrabble around doing odd filming jobs. It's not like I'm going around doing people's plumbing, although I can. It's It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. I don't know if you saw this, but if any of you follow Subotansky, she had she put a message on Twitter saying that she was on the phone to me in Aldi, and she was talking about her collection of dildos or something. Why did you put that on fucking Twitter? Anyway, but we were talking about things that, if you died, the things that people would find and go, oh my God. But I was specifically talking about the fact that I'll be so annoyed if I die before I write my fucking books about my travels around the world from a fucking decade ago. So yeah, I do want to get them done. It does irk me quite regularly. So yes, Pineapple Boy, feel free to continue to bug me about Top of the World. I do want to work on it. I do want to get it out there, but it will be a labour of love because no fucker's going to give me an advance to actually write the fucking thing because I'm not posh enough, unfortunately. Anyway, that's it from me and my massive chip on my shoulder. And I'll see you on Monday. And I'd just like to say a big thank you to Pineapple Boy and Walter and Casper, Chatty Rat and Duke Vengeance, obviously. And thank you to Darren and Richard and Canal for the super chats. Really fucking appreciate it. Really good stuff. And yeah, until next time, I'll leave you with a list of my beautiful patrons. I seem to have trouble finding this these days. I used to be able to just put it on straight away. Oh, there it is. Okay, and yes, I'll see you on Monday. We'll have more things to talk about, and obviously we'll know actually what's happened with the American elections, I guess, and at least in the House of Representatives. We're not going to find out what happens in the Senate until, I don't know, what is it, December the 6th or December the 8th or something. Stay tuned. Until next time, hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.